Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's impromptu live stream. I am Nick Push, and as always, I'm here to talk to you guys about everything going on in the horror world. And today that means a couple things. We're going to talk some Scream 6, which we finally got some news. We are going to talk some Halloween Ends because there's always something to dissect and talk about with Halloween Ends, right? So if you are watching after the fact, do me a favor, go down in the comments section. Tell me what you're excited about for either Scream 6 or Halloween Ends or both. Tell me how you feel about the news we're going to discuss today and your kind of consensus on what is going on in your head with these movies and these sequels. So here's how it's going to work tonight. Like I said, because it's impromptu, I'm not expecting a shit ton of people in the chat. This is just kind of a spur of the moment thing that I wanted to do. I was going to make a video. And I said, fuck it, let's go live. So here we are. So how it's going to work is we're going to talk some Scream. I'm going to go over an article where we got some big news yesterday, which I'm sure everybody's heard of, but we're going to read the article, and then I'm going to give kind of my thoughts on that. And then we're going to move over to a few Halloween Ends topics that I have. And while we're going, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat and, answer any questions you guys have, respond to any comments, and we'll kind of do some Q&A at the end and be done. So let's get right into it. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to read an article. 1 second here. Make sure I did this right. All right. So here is the big news of the week. This is from the Hollywood Reporter. Hayden Panettiere returns to Scream, joining the newest installment of horror franchise. So yes, Kirby is back. The rumors, the speculation, all of that has come true. You guys did it. You willed it into existence, you guys. So give yourselves a hand. Or, Hayden wasn't doing anything and they paid up. So, but either way, we're going to read this article and then we're going to talk about it. So let's get right into it. Hayden Panettiere, and I'm probably butchering her name, guys. That's just how I've always said it in my head. I've actually never heard anyone say it out loud. So if it is wrong, I apologize. But let's get into it. Hayden Panettiere is returning to the world of Scream. Panettiere, who was one of the stars of 2011 Scream 4. 2011. It's been 11 years. Holy shit. But the stars of 2011 Scream 4 has closed a deal to reprise her character in the latest installment of Spyglass Media and Paramount Pictures horror franchise. The two companies resurrected the slasher movie series in January with Scream, also the name of the 1996 original that started it all. They got to stop with these titles. I know why they're doing it. They don't want to have a number next to it because most numbers, especially when you get to the 5, 6, etc., are shitty, but it's going to get confusing in a few years. But anyway, the 5th installment, which proved audiences were craving some bloody thrills as it tallied more than 81 million domestically and 140 million worldwide. And it continues. A sequel was quickly put into the works. Yeah, I'd say so. Quickly is an understatement. But it was quickly put into the works, and this week it was announced that Melissa Barrera? Jesus. Jasmine Savoy Brown, Mason Gooding, and Jenna Ortega, who survived their ordeal with the killer known as Ghostface, would be returning. Principal photography is slated to start this summer. So they're already starting filming in the summer. That's crazy. I've kind of been paying attention a little bit. Obviously, I know that they announced it, like the article said, pretty quickly. But yeah, it's pretty crazy that they're already started filming in the summer. So let's keep going here. In Scream 4, Panettiere played Kirby Reed, a teen in fictional and terror-filled Woodsboro, California, the setting for the Scream franchise stories. Most of them. Scream 2 wasn't set in Woodsboro, but anyway. While initially a best friend type, Reed rises to hero status by the end, which also sees her near mortally wounded, but now a survivor. Was she hero status? Okay, whatever. Plot details for the new feature are being kept under the cloak, but the company said the new feature continues with 4 survivors of Ghostface killings as they leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter. And then it just kind of continues a little bit. So we're not gonna keep reading, but let's break this down a little bit here. All right. So here's my thoughts on this, guys. Number one, I am a big fan of Hayden Panettiere. Um, obviously she hasn't been in a lot lately. Um, I think the last thing she was probably in was maybe Nashville, maybe. Um, but yeah, so I'm a big fan of hers. Like I said, she hasn't really acted a lot lately. They must have really showed her some money and really kind of, convinced her to come back. We saw in Scream 5 that when, what's his face? Spoiler alert, the killer is, Dennis Quaid's kid, Jack Quaid, I think his name is. So we saw when he was going through on his computer, he was watching YouTube, watching about stuff for the Stab movies. You could see something, a little article on the bottom that said, I can't remember exactly what it said, but it basically said Survivor, Kirby survived. It was an interview with Survivor from there. So that kind of was our little hint that this could be happening if Scream 5 was a financial success. And we know that it was, because it just said it made 140 million domestically, which is a lot of money for a slasher movie. But yeah, so this was hinted at. My thoughts on this: look, there's been rumors of Kirby being alive for a long time, and I think it kind of stemmed from something Wes Craven said before he died. That he said, he basically never confirmed that Kirby died. So that obviously had people speculating, all kinds of crazy theories and shit like that. For my money, look, like I said, I love Hayden. Am I excited she's coming back? I'm not excited about it. I'm intrigued by it, and I'm basically intrigued. It's going to come up to how they use her. I was in a group chat earlier with some other horror fans that I talk to a lot, and there were a lot of speculations, and we were kind of theorizing and stuff. And Bud, who I think I just saw in the chat here, said, what if she's the opening kill? That would be interesting. I think her utilization will all come down to this: is Nev Campbell coming back? Because if Nev comes back, I think you could do Kirby as the opening kill, right? And it doesn't have to be like a Drew Barrymore type thing or Jenna Ortega thing, where they're in a house alone, but you could kind of surprise us, show Kirby's life, what she's been going on, what she's been going through in the last, at that point, probably 12 years, and then you kill her, right? Cool. Is it shocking? No, not if you see her in the opening scene. But it brings some weight that they're killing a fan favorite, right? But are they going to go through the trouble of bringing her back just to kill her right away? I don't see it. I don't see it happening. But if Nev comes back, I don't know where that leaves Kirby, because theoretically Kirby could play Nev's role in Scream 5, right? A survivor that's a little bit older. Obviously she's not as old as Nev. She'd be, 10, 12 years older than the kids from Scream 5 that survived, or most of the high school kids at least. But, she could provide some insight on that. Obviously, we know she has all the movie knowledge, that famous scene where she's, naming all the remakes and shit like that. Really cool scene. That's pretty much one of the main reasons she became a fan favorite. It made people, reminisce for the good old days of Randy before he died. So yeah, she's a fan favorite. I wouldn't kill her in the opening scene, but like I said, if Nev comes back, and that's a big if right now, I just don't know. I just don't see where you put her. So what do you guys think in the chat? Are you excited to see Kirby come back? What's going on? Let's see what's going on in the chat on this and get some thoughts here. Pete's Ultimate Movie Reviews. What's up, Pete? It says Kirby. Yes. It will be nice. I'll say this: it will be nice to see a familiar face that was not in Scream 5 and is not, Courtney Cox or Nev Campbell or David Arquette. I thought what they did with those three characters in Scream 5 the three legacy characters. I thought they did that wonderfully because they were in the background, right? And I know everyone wants to see Ned versus Ghostface every fucking movie. I've seen that 3 times and then a little more in Scream 4, right? A decent amount in Scream 4, actually. And then I don't need to see it anymore. So it's time to move this franchise on from the legacy characters. And one way to do that would be to have Kirby take over for them. Technically, she would be a legacy type character, but she's not one that we've seen all the time. And like I said, she's a fan favorite for a reason. I'm getting a little bit sick. I think it's just fandom now, and I'm as guilty of it as anyone. But I personally am getting a little bit sick of a character dying, and then they bring her back, right, or him back. We've seen it now with Kirby. We've seen it with Officer Hawkins or Deputy Hawkins in Halloween Kills, right? I don't want to see Stu back, is where I'm going with this. He had a fucking TV fall on his head. All right. And I'm not talking about a TV nowadays, that's, 15 pounds. I'm talking about a 1996 TV. He's fucking dead. All right. He is dead. I don't want to see him back. I love the actor. Love is probably a strong word. I like the actor. I've heard he's a great guy at conventions and shit like that. I don't want to see Stu back. Okay, it wouldn't ruin the original, but it's stupid. Can people just stay dead? I guess is where I'm going with this. It's part of horror movies having characters come back. I get that. Mostly it's the killer. I know that. Look at Friday the 13th, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, all of them, right? All of them. The killer dies and then he comes back, right? But you get these mortal characters, especially in the Scream franchise. This is not anything. Nothing is supernatural in this franchise. So I get Kirby. I get it. She was stabbed in the stomach, right? I think she was stabbed in the stomach by Rory Culkin. But hers is a little more logical than Stu. But after Kirby, no more, guys. It's gonna take away from the realism of the Scream franchise, which, like I said, it is not a supernatural franchise. It is a person or multiple people that have seen one too many scary movies, and for reasons told at the end of the movie, they go on a killing spree, right? So let's see what else you guys got going on in the chat. ATGNA podcast. What's up, guys? Says Stu is deader than shit. I agree. Diamond Rattler. Hey, Diamond. Shane, what's up, buddy? Shane says Matthew Lillard is the man. Yep, he was in so many good movies, especially from the mid '90s to the mid 2000s. He's a fan favorite, and obviously, he played Stu to a T. Here's a thought from ATGNAT podcast. I can't say that right, man. How do you do it in your videos? He says, I think she'll be the killer. That would be interesting. Yeah, that would be very interesting. If Kirby was the killer, I don't see it personally, but it would certainly be interesting. Shocking Poetry says, here we go. We're going to pull this one up because this is interesting. Shocking Poetry says, who would like to see Billy Loomis's daughter become straight up possessed by her father? A new twist. I don't know about possessed, because then we're going into supernatural territory here for a franchise that is, at least as far as horror franchises go, a little more grounded in reality. So I don't know about straight up possessed by her father, but becoming the killer, which, they obviously alluded to some of her rage, especially at the end of Scream 5. She just goes fucking apeshit nuts with the stabbing, right? And then, at the end, she sees Billy as the Force ghost or whatever. Ugh, I hated that. But anyway, she obviously, they were alluding to her having some Billy in her, right? So were they alluding to her having that in her so they can set up a scenario where she is the killer in one of these new sequels? Maybe. Could be a misdirect. It could be, just another take on Jamie Lee Curtis's favorite word, trauma. So it could be a lot of factors. Personally, I wouldn't like to see her be straight up possessed um, by her father, um, but they are certainly alluding to her having some of Billy in her. So I get what you're saying there. Shane Emerson, here's another thought. Says, I think a Ghostface cult of killers would be a nice twist in Scream 6. Yeah, we know this. There has always been either two killers or in Scream 3, a single killer, right? So how about a Ghostface cult? That would be interesting. And it'd also be a little bit of a nod to I believe, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, maybe you've heard of this. There was an old Freddy vs. Jason script where I don't remember the exact scenario, but there was like a cult of Freddy Krueger worshippers. I think they called them Fred heads. Don't quote me on that. But there was a cult of Freddy Krueger worshippers. Can't talk tonight, guys. So that would be a nice little homage to another Craven creation. But yeah, a cult of Ghostface killers. So obviously we'd have um, more than two. You'd have maybe in different cities all over California or different cities all over the country. They're coordinating these attacks, and it's just a cult of a bunch of crazy Ghostface killers. In this day and age, it'd be pretty easy to coordinate something like that, especially with Twitter and social media in general, and all the access of information and technology. A cult of Ghostface killers, like that'd be interesting. I'd rather have that than just the standard reveal of a group of friends are getting stalked and killed one by one by Ghostface, and then boom, at the end we find out it's one or two of their friends. After a few times of that, it's like, all right, let's change it up a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to please everybody. They know that. The movie makers know that. So I'd like to see something different. I'd be fine with a cult of Ghostface killers. That like I said, that could be rather interesting if depending on the execution. ATGNAT podcast says all the hornballs are happy Kirby is back. Yes, we are. I mean, yes, they are. So yeah, like I said, I'm mixed on Kirby coming back. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It will certainly make my anticipation and a lot of different theories about the movie very, very interesting. Shane asks, Nick, what do you think the title of Scream 6 will be? Oh, that's a good question. Like I kind of bitched about at the beginning, these titles to these horror movies now, with Halloween 2018 just being Halloween, with Scream 2022 just being Scream. It's going to get confusing 10 years from now. I understand why they do it, right? You see Scream 5, not us, but the average movie going audience says Scream 5. Like there's a fifth Scream. They're more likely to go see something just called Scream or just called Halloween. I understand that. But I don't know. My guess is it'll be some type of subtitle. Like Halloween Kills was and Halloween Ends are. They're not. There's no numerical value in there. So I don't know. I guess it depends where it's set. It'd be cool to include Woodsboro in the title. But it obviously would have to be set in Woodsboro. And I'm guessing that these young characters are going to leave Woodsboro. Just a hunch of mine. And so yeah, it all depends on that. I hope it's, I hated the title Halloween Kills when it first came out, when it was first announced. I was not a fan of that. But it grew on me, and I thought it, and I think Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends are fine. So we'll see what it is. Having Ghostface in the title would be cool. Scream, the legacy of Ghostface, or something like that. Could be kind of cool. ATGNAT podcast says call it Ghostface. Yeah. Well, that's an option. Didn't Saw do that? They have a movie just called Jigsaw. Shocking Poetry says, yep, Scream kills and Scream ends. Yep. So for me, as far as the title, I mean, I don't know. Something clever. Obviously, it's not going to have a numerical value. But yeah, I just want to be surprised in this movie. I called Dennis Quaid's son. I'm going to keep calling Dennis Quaid's son. I'm not going to call him Jack Quaid. I fucking love Dennis Quaid. Jake Blaster, if you're watching, Dennis Quaid is awesome. And Jaws 3 is not a great movie, but Dennis Quaid is awesome. And it's better than Jaws 4. But anyway, sorry, a little bit of a rivalry I'm having with a buddy of mine who has his own YouTube channel. So go tell him Jaws 3 is awesome. But anyway, Diamond Rattler. Here's some titles. It says Scream Forever and Scream Legacy. I like it. I do like that, actually. That's good. That's good. Yeah, something like that. I'm totally cool with. As long as it's clever, it's not lame. Like Scream Returns, or I don't know, Scream: The Revenge of Ghostface. I don't know. Yeah, I just hope they surprise us with the plot and the killers, because like I said, I called Dennis Quaid's kid being the killer right away. He's the boyfriend. Dewey called it right away too. Dewey basically told us who the killer was, and I get it. It was a misdirect. I totally understand the symbolic nature of that, but surprise us, all right? And Kirby being the killer would be surprising. So would I like it? I don't know, guys. It's all in the execution, but I probably wouldn't like it. And I don't think they would do it. It'd be a twist, because right now I'm thinking, Hayden would come back to be the fucking killer. Maybe that's why she did come back. Who knows? Yeah. So as far as Hayden goes, guys, it's all going to depend on the execution, on how they use her. I'm excited that we got some cool news about it. As far as Nev returning, I'm going to be in the minority here. I don't want her to return. Let's leave Sidney Prescott in the rear view. You want to keep making fucking sequels? Do them without Sidney, okay? And then if it keeps going on and on, 10 years from now, if there's more sequels, bring her back for one, and it'll make her appearance that much more meaningful. Maybe she'll be a badass like Laurie Strode in Halloween 2018. And that's as good a segue as any to talk some Halloween Ends, guys. So we're going to switch gears. Still keep your Scream stuff in the chat, in the comments. I'm going to be taking all kinds of questions before we're through tonight. So I will go through and check anything that stands out to me. So if you want to keep talking Scream, you can keep talking Scream. We will get to it. But I just want to switch gears a little bit and talk some Halloween Ends. So a couple of things here. Number one, we do not have a trailer. I've been getting asked every day. I've been getting messages, guys, every day. When do I think the trailer's coming? I don't know. Is that a good enough answer for you? I don't fucking know. But let's think about this logically here. So anything they did for Halloween Kills, we can throw out the window, right? Not anything. But, for the most part, as far as the time frame goes, we can toss it out the window, because it was not a normal situation by any means. Nothing about the last couple of years has been normal in this world. So let's go back to 2018. When did the trailer drop? I think it was late June, right? Or mid-June. My guess is it will be a similar marketing campaign, except for the fact that they've gone to great lengths, as you know, great lengths to not really give us much of anything on Halloween Ends. And I think that's awesome. Um, but we do know this. We do know that the trailer fucking leaked last year, and they were pissed. They had to release it early. Remember, it leaked during the day. I can't remember when it was, but it leaked during the late morning or something, and then they had to release it at like 9 p.m. at night. And it was Blum and Gordon Green and Curtis, had to do damage control because people are going to watch it no matter what. So may as well get the quality one out. So they're going to be very careful with it this time. They're going to make sure it doesn't fucking leak. And my guess would be late June, which is next month. It's crazy. Late June, early July would be my guess. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the trailer. It'd be nice if we didn't even get a trailer, to be honest. I'd love to just go on fresh. I don't have the willpower not to watch it, especially doing this channel. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to see. So it'd be cool if we didn't get a trailer. But we'll get a trailer, guys. They got to market this movie. And if you remember, like I said, we can't really take the marketing of Halloween Kills into effect because nothing was normal. But if you remember, as it got closer to Halloween time and it got closer to the release date, Halloween Kills content, trailers and clips and shit, they were everywhere. They were fucking everywhere. I've never seen anything like it. And it worked, right? So I'm guessing it's going to be similar in that regard as we, get closer to the trailer date, closer to the release date. We're going to see all kinds of different Halloween End shit. But I still wouldn't expect a trailer this month. Watch it drop tomorrow now, and you guys can call me an idiot. It's fine. I've been called worse. But yeah, I just don't see a trailer dropping for till at least mid-June, probably end of June, early July, and then it'll start ramping up. So I'm excited. As much as I say I don't want to see the trailer, I'm excited to see what the trailer looks like and see if there's any misdirects. Shane Emerson here says almost every movie trailer reveals too much nowadays. The teaser trailer is a lost art. Yeah, it's interesting. So it seems to me that a teaser trailer now is what an actual movie trailer used to be, and now these movie trailers are like 2.5, 3 minutes long. And it's just like, Jesus, and I get it. I believe Jason Blum stated, I'm paraphrasing here, that their marketing department has told them the more they show in a trailer, the more people are going to go see the movie. It's a business, guys. It's just the way it is. I can sit here and bitch all night about how I don't want to see this scene in Halloween Ends, or the closet scene ruined 2018. Hey, see you later, Pete. The closet scene ruined 2018. It doesn't matter. The trailer's not for me, right? It's not for you. If you're watching this video, if I'm making this video, we're going to see Halloween Ends. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. The trailer is for the general movie-going audience. And then to get some buzz in, the horror world, for all the, Halloween YouTubers to assemble and make their videos and get everyone pumped and tweeting about it and all that shit. But generally, it's not really for us. So it's unfortunate that trailers show too much nowadays, but it's just the way it is. Okay. Another topic here of Halloween Ends that I want to get your guys' thoughts on. A friend of mine, you guys hear me mention him all the time. You're probably sick of hearing me mention this guy, but he is a good guy and does have a good channel. Jake Blaster Productions came out with a video yesterday, I believe. And basically the subject of the video is basically stating that he thinks Hawkins is going to be revealed as Karen's father in Halloween Ends. I must admit, Blaster, I have not watched his thoughts on this yet. I have not watched it at all. I'm planning on watching it, don't worry. But it's a very interesting point. And from what he told me through text messages is to watch the scene in the hospital again. And the scene he's talking about is, remember when Blaster, or not Blaster, Jesus. Remember when Lori is talking to Hawkins in the hospital and mentions Ben Tramer? Or Hawkins mentioned Ben Tramer. I guess he told me, and I haven't done it yet. He told me to rewatch that scene, and basically he thinks that they're setting up Hawkins to be revealed as Karen's father. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that? A, do you think Hawkins is Karen's father? And B, if you do you like that? For me, I almost want to say I don't think they do that, but I can't say that because I don't know what their thoughts are, especially with Halloween Ends. They've been so close to the vest. They did a lot of strange shit in Halloween Kills. I wouldn't put anything past them, especially in the final, act of a 3-act play. Okay, I wouldn't put it past them. I don't want to see it. I think it's unnecessary, especially without Karen finding out, right? So what would be the point, I guess, of that? Just to add more weight to Karen's death, maybe? I'm just spitballing, guys, and thinking out loud. But maybe it would add more weight to Karen's death. Maybe Lori isn't the only one grieving. Maybe Hawkins is, and her and Hawkins got to, get to grieve together about that. But then you're also running into the problem where Lori hasn't told Hawkins yet, right? So maybe that'll kind of divide their relationship. Maybe she tells him because Karen dies. I think she said something like, "I should have told you," or something like that. I got to rewatch it, but I really hope they don't make Hawkins Karen's father. But I stand to be corrected. I need to watch Blaster's video on this and hear his thoughts because he's usually pretty usually kidding, buddy. No, he's always pretty coherent with his thoughts on things like that. So I'm going to be very curious to hear his thoughts on that, and maybe I'll make my own video, either agreeing with him or a rebuttal. But go check that out and let me know what you think. All right, we got a super chat here from ATGNAT Podcast. Says, great stream, Nick. Appreciate all you do. Hey, thanks, Ronnie. Speaking of channels, these guys got a great channel. Go check out their channel. They've had a podcast for a number of years, and they're just kind of branching off into YouTube. I know they are planning I can't remember if it's a video or a live stream tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Friday the 13th, guys. But they're planning some Friday the 13th content tomorrow. And they got a lot of cool Halloween Ends videos already on their channel, and they're making a lot. They're making a lot more. So go check out their channel. They are good guys, Ronnie and Blake over there. They know their shit. Even when I disagree with them, they still have coherent thoughts, and they're big fans of horror and big fans of the Halloween franchise. And like I said, they got some good Friday the 13th stuff coming. So go check them out. All right. Shocking Poetry says, Nick, with the popularity of Michael Myers and Ghostface back again, do you think a Freddy vs. Jason 2 would be a good way to reintroduce them back to the big screen? Ooh, I like this question. I really, really like this question. So, a couple of things here. Nothing's going to happen until the legal bullshit of the Friday the 13th franchise gets taken care of. But let's take that out of the picture. Let's pretend that's not going on, okay? We know that the character of Freddy, or Nightmare on Elm Street series, whatever it is, has been given back to the Craven estate. The rights to it have, right? So do I think Freddy vs. Jason 2 would be a good way to reintroduce them to the big screen? That was a complicated question. I don't know. Yes and no. Okay. So number one, fans would eat it up, right? Fans would eat it up. Especially nowadays, with all these multiverses and shit like that. Freddy vs. Jason I always call it like a comic book movie made for horror fans. Do I think it's a great movie? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Yes, I did. It was fun. It is what it is. It's I'm personally more of like a darker, tone of movies, and that's just not what a Freddy vs. Jason movie could ever be. Maybe, but uh, it's more like a comic book movie, and it's fun. It was fun. So here's the issue you'd run into this with this Robert England's age. Okay, I don't even know how old Robert is. In fact, let me check here. I'm gonna check. Let's see. He's got to be 70 something, 75. Robert England is, why is it not telling me his age? 74 years old. Yep. So let's say you figure if they did a Freddy vs. Jason, it'd be at least 2 or 3 years before that comes out because of the legal issues and all kind of script and all kinds of that. So you're looking at, he's pushing 80, 77, 76, 77, 78. He's pushing 80. Can't do it. Especially a Freddy vs. Jason movie, that's gonna be physical as hell. If it was a movie where they're reintroducing Freddy, you could do some kind of tricks. I just don't think you could do a Freddy vs. Jason movie with Robert England. Which brings us to a new Freddy, which I am currently in favor of. I think if you're going to have a new Freddy, you got to establish that character first by making his own movie, and then you could go do a Freddy versus Jason. Jason's interchangeable. Put a hockey mask on someone, and I know the King Hodder fans are going to go nuts, but he's interchangeable. For the most part. So yeah, I don't think it would work because of the Robert England factor, and they wouldn't want to bring in a new actor and then have the new actor go right to Freddy vs. Jason. But that being said, who knows? I think people would be for it. I'll tell you that. Even though I'm not, I know a lot of people would be perfectly happy with that. Shane Emerson says, "I hope Hawkins isn't Karen's father. It feels like a distraction from the main story. I wouldn't have minded if it was addressed in Halloween 2018, maybe as either a secret to Hawkins or Karen." Yeah, that's a good point. I think it would have to, in order for it to work, it has to be addressed. It had to be addressed already. It would distract from the main story, especially it's a smaller scale story, so we're told in Halloween Ends, right? Smaller scale story. So there's going to be some different types of emotional weight and things like that, things that we didn't get in Halloween Kills, to be honest. So that's where they could do it, but it just seems like an unnecessary twist. Is this the twist ending that Casa was talking about? I doubt it, but it's just unnecessary. It doesn't even matter that much. That's kind of my issue. You're going to have Hawkins be your father. It doesn't matter very much. That's my issue with it. I don't see how it drives the narrative forward and drives it further. I just don't see it. Chris Daniel, hey Chris, says, piggybacking off of Shocking Poetry, does Freddy vs. Jason 2 have a better chance with Ash from Evil Dead being in it, especially with the new movie and game coming out? Does it have a better chance? Maybe. Maybe. I'm a big Bruce Campbell fan. I'm not the biggest Evil Dead fan. I actually like the remake better than all the other ones. But I love Bruce Campbell. I'm a big fan of the show Burn Notice, and Bruce Campbell's in that. He's in the Sam Raimi movies and shit like that too. But yeah, would it have a better chance? I don't know. I don't know how much better, but probably, because there's people like me that love Bruce Campbell. Ash vs. Evil Dead, the show on the Stars Network, actually had a lot of fans. I went on for a few seasons, and Ash is a charismatic character, and I think it's just because of Bruce Campbell. Second Bruce Campbell's did tonight, it seems like, but I love the guy. I love him in everything he's in. He's very charismatic. So yeah, it probably does have a better chance. Um, I just don't know if it's significantly better. But you make a good point with the new movie and a game coming. It could be a way to market, the movie and game. Um, so yes and no to answer your question, but um, there's probably a lot more Evil Dead fans than I think there are. So maybe it would. I just don't see it happening um, at all. I think we just missed our window with that. They were going to do a Freddy vs. Jason 2 after the original came out. What year was that? 2003, 2002, something like that. But after the original one came out, they obviously had two different, or not two different endings, but they had the ending where essentially, Jason wins, but Freddy's still alive. He winks at the camera, blah blah blah. But they were all set to keep making them, and then they missed their window. I think 20 years ago was prime time for that. Even though people would be excited for it now, um, I just think I think you have to reestablish these characters in their own movies first. And by the time you do that, it's going to be a couple movies worth, and you're looking at maybe 10 years from now, you're able to do Freddy vs. Jason 2, and then maybe Um, I just don't know if anyone else can play Ash. I mean, obviously someone can. If someone else can play Freddy Krueger, someone else can play Ash. Um, yeah. So it's a good question, Chris. I like it. I like your thought process, especially from a business aspect of the new movie and game coming. Thrill Me Podcast. Hey, how's it going, Thrill Me Podcast? Says, do you think the new Scream franchise has overarching story, Blum Halloween, or are we gonna move, or are we going movie to movie? Oh, that's an interesting question. Um, a little of both, probably. Um, the reason I would think it would have an overarching story is they have all these characters coming back. They have Jenna Ortega. They have her character coming back. They have Billy Loomis's daughter coming back. And I think the other people that they mentioned, let's see, Melissa Barrera, Jasmine Spoy Brown, Mason Gooding. I don't know who they are. Is that Randy's sister or Randy's sister? Randy's niece. But anyway, so they have these returning characters coming back. So that lends to an overarching story, right? Um, but I also think they're going to have, based on based on the fact that it's Scream, you almost have to go movie to movie, right? Because you're going to have a new killer every time. Now I know what you're thinking. Scream 1, 2, 3, 4. It all focused on Sidney Prescott, right? And essentially Maureen Prescott. So that was kind of an overarching story, which I agree with. But each individual movie could essentially be watched on its own. So I think that's probably what they'll do. My hope is, so these four returning characters, Billy Loomis's daughter, Jenna Ortega's character, and the two others. My hope is that these four now don't all four survive Scream 6. I don't want it to get to a point where we got in Scream 4 and essentially Scream 3 too, where Dewey, Gail, and Sydney, we know that they're going to survive, right? It got to the point where when they were in danger, I didn't feel any tension because I didn't think they were going to kill off Courtney Cox. I didn't think they were going to kill off David Arquette, Nev Campbell. I just didn't think they were going to kill him off. So I hope if it is an overarching story, they kill some of these characters off. I give them credit for having the balls to kill David Arquette. Okay. Scream 2 killed off Randy. People fucking hated that. They killed him off in the middle of the movie in broad daylight, right? I loved Randy. But that was a ballsy decision that paid off because you didn't see it coming, right? And obviously things are a little different now. At that point it was just a sequel to a successful movie the previous year, and now it's a franchise. I understand all that, but I just hope they have some balls and kill people off. Very, very good question. Throw Me Podcast. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here, guys. Sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. Here we go. Tristan Quarter says, screams, scream again, one last scream. Yeah. So instead of scream, you're saying it could be screams. And then scream again and one last scream. I mean, that'd be fitting narratively. Um, I don't know what they're going to do with these titles, guys. You know, like I said, it'd be cool if they incorporated Woodsboro or Ghostface into the titles. I just don't know. Okay, I'm gonna go for another 15 or so minutes, guys. I wanted to touch on something that I was about Laurie Strode, essentially. Um, and I'm probably gonna piss some people off here that I was talking to earlier today, and that is not my intention. If you guys are watching, I'm just debating Laurie's story in my head here. So I am actually Laurie Strode out. Stroded? Am I Stroded? Is that how you say it? I am Laurie Stroded. I know that's not a word. Out. We have seen way, way, way too much of this character, especially in a fucking franchise where she's dealing with Michael fucking Myers, right? She keeps surviving. I know she died in Resurrection. I know all that. But anyway, we've seen Laurie, and I've said this before. We've seen her in the OG. We've seen her in Halloween 2. We've seen her in H2O. We've seen her in Resurrection, briefly. We've seen her in 2018. We've seen her in Halloween Kills. We're going to see her in Halloween Ends, right? And that doesn't even count the Scout Taylor content versions. Okay? That's a lot of Laurie Strode. So very, very lot of Laurie Strode. I'm Stroded, guys. I'm gonna turn that into a new adjective there. I'm Stroded. But I'm sick of her. 100% honestly, I'm sick of her. But I think we need to close out her character in a way that does the character justice. And what I mean by that is, narratively speaking, you can't just kill her off right away in the first 2 minutes. Okay? We can't do that. She means too much to the Halloween franchise. Okay? As much as I'm sick of her. Okay? And if they kill her off in the first couple minutes, honestly, I'd be fine with it. But for me, if I'm looking at it from a narrative perspective, this new trilogy, focused on essentially Laurie was just as much of a focus as Michael Myers, right? For better or worse, in my opinion, for worse. She's just as much of a focus as Michael Myers. So she needs to, go out in a blaze of glory if she goes out, or she needs to survive in Halloween Ends. I just wouldn't kill her off right away. I would have her either saving Allison or, showing Allison that that there's a way to get over what happened to you. Allison obviously grew up with Laurie being this paranoid drunk, essentially, right? So, and then Laurie found out that it wasn't about her last movie, right? That Michael wasn't just waiting for her like she was waiting for him, that he didn't give a fuck about her. She was just fucking there. She wasted her goddamn life being obsessed with Michael Myers. Yes, she went through something traumatic in 78, right? But she didn't have to, create this bunker in her house. She didn't have to, teach Karen how to shoot a gun and all that shit, right? So I think she's going to want to make sure that Allison, who's now has went through something that, might even be more traumatic, certainly lost more. She lost both of her parents and her boyfriend. She's going to want to show Allison that, do not waste your life. So I just think that thematically and narratively speaking, Laurie Strode has to go out in a blaze of glory by either an emotional blaze of glory, teaching Allison the right way to live and that she was wrong, or, literally saving Allison's life. So, like I said, I was in a little bit of a debate earlier with some friends, and I'm not taking a shot at them at all. I love you guys, but we were just kind of debating this, and I'm not gonna, go into the specific details about that. But while we were debating this, I just kind of wanted to mention it tonight that I personally think that, thematically speaking, this franchise, for better or worse, has become a lot of Laurie Strode. So she needs her character, to do her character justice. And Halloween Ends, the last time JLC is going to be playing Laurie Strode, uh, she needs to have um, a good death, or a good, meaningful way to survive. So that's kind of my thoughts on there. All right. Let's see here. We're going to answer some questions, guys, and then we're going to be done. I'm going to get to all the questions in the chat here that I haven't gotten to. So, Adam Howard, what's up, Adam? Says, do you think Scream should diversify the kills, or is the knife a part of the stealthy aspect of Ghostface? Yeah, that's an interesting question. Scream is, essentially just knife to the back, slit of the throat, knife to the stomach. There hasn't really been a lot of creative kills. Probably the most famous one that doesn't involve a knife is what's her face in the garage door, Rose McGowan's character in the garage door. But other than that, it's pretty much all knife. At this point, I'd stick with the knife. It's such a classic, cool looking knife too. That's the thing about it. Maybe that's clouded my judgment, because it is a cool looking knife. I'd probably stick with the knife and maybe have, one creative kill in the movies moving forward. And other than that, I would stick with the knife. Thrill Me Podcast says, "Oh, I have to disagree. Sydney from Scream wanted her welcome way more. She went from could she die to Sid is here by Ghostface. Hashtag Sidya boring." Okay, let me think about that. So you think Sydney wore out her welcome more than Laurie? Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, if you think about it, Sid has actually been in every single Scream movie, where Laurie has not been in every Halloween movie. So if you look at it from that point of view, you make a valid point. For me, maybe because Laurie's character is there's just so many goddamn timelines in Halloween. So you got, how many different versions of Laurie do we need? We got the Laurie from the OG. We got the Laurie from 1 and 2, the Laurie from 1, 2, and H2O and Resurrection, the Laurie from 2018 and Kills and now Ends. There's just too many versions of Laurie running around. So personally, personally, Laurie bothers me more than Sydney. But it also could just be, I'm a little biased. Sydney's actually, I think, the best final girl of all time. But it is a little unrealistic that she just keeps surviving. So I feel you there. Shane Emerson says, I saw a crazy theory the other day that Michael's mask is a silver shamrock mask. Yeah, it's wild and it'll never happen. What are your thoughts on this? That's a good question. I've seen this, rolling around as well. I know someone that feels very strongly that this will happen. For various reasons, which he actually makes some good points. Will it happen? I don't know. Should it happen? No, because Halloween 1978 is a fictional movie in Halloween 3. So if they're gonna, remake it or have something in there, it wouldn't make any sense at all, right? It wouldn't make any sense. If you look at it from that should be case fucking closed, right? No sense at all. The other hand, we're dealing with the fact that this is a horror franchise. I just spent minutes earlier talking about how please don't bring back Stu. Why would they bring back Stu? A TV fell on his head because it's a fucking horror movie. They can do whatever the fuck they want, it seems like, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe not if Michael's mask is a silver shamrock mask, but I wouldn't be surprised if they weaved silver shamrock shit in there at the end of the movie, or somewhere in the movie, just to be able to kind of market or set up a either reboot or remake or sequel to Halloween 3. So it wouldn't shock me. Should it happen? No. Will it happen? Maybe. Maybe. I personally don't want that theory to be true. But believe it or not, I've heard worse theories. So Thrill Me Podcast says, I do feel like Laurie should go out a hero. Yeah, I think so too. I think she will. I think Jamie Lee Curtis has enough clout and enough say in this franchise, and especially in this new trilogy now, where she's not going to let, Laurie die by, kissing Michael's mask, falling off a building and saying, I'll see you in hell. So I think she will go out a hero if she dies. And she probably should. Just my opinion. Here we go. Scott Stevens. Hey, Scott says maybe Kirby and Tara will be final girls in Scream 6. Yeah, maybe. If it's just those two, my only question then would be, what about Sam Loomis? They spent so much time with her in the Scream 5, especially with the Billy shit, the Force Ghost of Billy and the hallucinations of Billy. So if Kirby and Tara are the final girls, Sam would almost have to be, she'd either be dead or she'd be the killer. And I think her being the killer is just a little bit of a misdirect. But I wouldn't hate that. Like I said, I like Kirby a lot. And Jenna Ortega, I think that's Tara, right? Jenna Ortega, yeah. Jenna Ortega was, I thought she was fantastic in Scream 6, and I haven't seen X yet, but I heard she's very good in X too. Let's see here. Scott Stevens says, I'm just hoping a good chase scene in Scream 6. Please write that in the script. Yeah, me too. Were there any chase scenes in Scream 5 that were good? I don't recall. Maybe the opening was the closest thing we got to that. There's some shit in the hospital, I guess. Yeah, okay, the hospital with Jenna Ortega in the wheelchair, but that wasn't really too big of a chase scene because she was in a wheelchair with injuries on her hands. But yeah, a good chase scene would be great. I personally would love a chase scene, with the scope and, similar stakes as Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. That is a great chase scene. I would love to get something like that. As long as hell. It's just an excellent chase scene. So I would love something like that. Shane says, I just realized her name is actually Sam Loomis. Yeah, I said it out loud and I didn't even click with me. Right? Am I right on that? Is it Sam? Yeah, it is. That's crazy. Yeah, it didn't even click with me. Dr. Samuel Loomis. Adam Howard. We're going to go a few more minutes, guys, and then we're going to be done. Adam Howard said, I'd sort of like to see Laurie closer to how she was in the original rather than the New Age Laurie. At least appearing more well-adjusted for Allison. Yep, I agree. And my theory has always been that on the outside, Laurie is going to be happy and, moving past, Michael Myers. On the outside, or outside appearance is going to be like that. But then, Allison's going to go to bed and you're going to see, Laurie's still obsessed. But she's not going to want Allison to see that she's still obsessed because she doesn't want Allison to end up like she did. So that's kind of my theory on that. But yeah, this New Age Laurie, Linda Hamilton Laurie, I'm not a fan of at all. It's not scary, a friend of mine in one of our chats made a point that, Laurie is essentially hunting Michael in this new trilogy and not the other way around. And he's right. He's 100% right. Gary, if you're watching, I did it. I said you were right. It's the first time I think I've ever said that. But yeah, so I would love her to be more like the original. Let's see what we got here. Shane says, I know we all want some good stalking scenes in Halloween Ends. Yes, sir. Please give us some stalking. Have Michael in the background of many scenes. Flesh it out. Let the scene breathe. Okay. Don't pull the bullshit you did from 2018 where, we finally get our chance at a chase scene or some good stalking and it's over before it begins. All right, guys, I think that is going to be it for tonight. I appreciate you guys showing up at the last minute. Thank you guys for all your questions and comments, super chats, all that. Really, really appreciate it. I'm going to keep doing these every once in a while. I'll try to give you guys some more notice. I just wanted to get on live tonight because I had some free time. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know down in the comments if your thoughts on some of the things we talked about tonight. I will see you guys later. Have a great night.